Okay, so I just wanted to go over how I'll be using Canvas and sort of the structure of our course. So this is just our homepage, and I just wanted to point you to a few really important things. My email is listed right here if you ever need me. I'm happy to schedule office hours with you by appointment. I know a lot of you have really crazy schedules and they may not be similar in any way. So I'm trying to make sure that I carve out time when it's convenient for you, if that's possible. I also have included the library guide for our course, and you'll see if you click that link, it brings you to a Rutgers University library page. And it basically is a website that was designed by Rutgers librarians. And what they've done is they've collated a ton of information as well as library resources to help you research for this paper to the best of your ability. And I really like it because it includes different little videos. It also gives you links to different sources or databases that will be useful to you. It prompts you with different questions. It offers tips. There's a ton of information. And then you'll always see too that there's always a librarian that you can email and ask questions. You can definitely use that option. I think it's really helpful. But you can see right at the top, there are different categories that coincide with the structure of our paper. And you'll see that there are lots of little videos, and this just goes over how to find statistics to help you identify that your problem exists and just to sort of quantify it, as I discussed in the previous video. But you can flip through this on your own. You can sort of see how it's structured to kind of mirror your paper. The other thing I want to point you to is this Get Help button. Once you click that, you can see that you are able to live chat a librarian. You can email a librarian. You can call a librarian, or you can make you can make an appointment with a librarian. So I really recommend doing all of those things. The live chat is especially helpful because even if you're having difficulty with search terms or finding a really good database for the problem that you've chosen, or even if it's just that you can't find an article that you feel like definitely exists, they can help you do those things. So please just be mindful of that as well. And that's right here, the Get Help button. If you click the library homepage, you will see that this Ask Us button is very similar, and it will give you different information to get in touch with a librarian. Okay, so just moving on, at the very bottom of this page, and we're right on our homepage right now, you will see that there is a link to the syllabus, and it should download the syllabus for you. If you click that, you'll see that it opens. And this is what it should open to. So I just want to walk you through a little bit of the syllabus. I will go through it in such a detailed way, but I do want you to at least be aware of certain things that are important. Once again, it just has my information at the top and the course information. It gives a description of the course. These are very, very important. I've included the 2 different texts that you will need. It's very important that you get the 12th edition and the 4th edition, as it says here. A lot of students ask, can I get a previous edition? They're very different, and it will be very difficult for you to be successful in the course. I do not care if you have a hard copy of these texts, or if you'd rather have an online version. I've included links as to where you can purchase them. And I do believe that the online versions are a bit more affordable. There are different course policies here that are listed, and I've sort of tweaked these to make them more relevant because we will be online this semester. So please make sure that you read through these. It is extremely important. I'm just going to point out a few that I think are extremely essential for you to understand. So late papers will lose credit, and if it's more than a few days late, it may not receive credit at all. So please make sure that you're submitting everything on time. The lowest passing grade for the writing program is the grade of a C. That means that a D does not exist. Anything below a C is an F. That's something you need to be mindful of. Every single assignment needs to be submitted in order to pass the course. If you are missing an assignment, even if it's a smaller one, you cannot pass the course. Your proposal, even if you're doing really well and you feel like you're maybe around a B average before the final proposal, if you do not pass your final proposal, you cannot pass the course. So also be mindful of that. All final grades are subject to departmental review. We meet with directors, all of the professors, to go over all of your grades, so they are always reviewed with a director. We went over the grade distribution in my previous presentation, but it's there if you need it. I've included a ton of different resources for academic integrity and plagiarism, so please make sure you're checking those out. I have included the link for the full academic integrity policy that Rutgers adheres to. There are curriculum goals that I've included, and then I've included a bunch of different support services. So if any of these things seem like you need access to them, I've included all that information in our syllabus. The one that I think might be most important for you is that there are writing program tutoring centers, and you can find out all of that information right here. And I know that we're remote this semester, but all of these tutoring centers function in a remote capacity. So I really recommend using those. And you can see that there's just a ton more in case you need any of that. If you go underneath all of the links that I've offered you, you'll see that there's a weekly agenda. So I've just tried to include different things that we'll be focusing on for the 14 weeks that I'll have you this semester. So please make sure that you're using this. Okay, so just going back to our Canvas site, the two tabs that you'll be using the most are announcements. This is where I'll post really important announcements. You'll see we had our first announcement a week or so ago, and this was just sort of me introducing everything to you. So make sure that you're checking your announcements. I know most of you have them hooked up to your email, which is great. The other option that we use a ton is the modules tab, and you'll see none of this is published yet, but it will be soon. But every week I'll post an outline, and this is very similar to what's in your syllabus, and I'll tell you when things are due. You'll see that this week we have a lecture. So here's our first lecture, and then underneath will be the video that I'm currently recording. So you'll have to watch 2 screencasts. I try to keep them to under 15 minutes just to make them not as stressful to watch and more manageable. I always include the PDFs of my PowerPoints, so those are there if you need them. We do have an assignment this week. It's called the newspaper assignment. So make sure that you're looking on page 7 in the Magrino textbook for instructions. But what I've done is I've modeled what this should look like. So as an example, I've completed the assignment as well. So if you're struggling after you read page 7 and you're still not sure, you can look at my example. Going on, I also wanted you guys to introduce yourselves. So I started, but you'll just reply to this discussion just by introducing yourself. Tell us if you have preferred pronouns, what you like to be called, if you have a nickname, and then maybe just a few interesting facts about yourself. And if you wanted to include a picture, I included a Bitmoji, woohoo, maybe you will too. So you can just reply to that and we can meet each other to sort of get to know each other, because I think that's important. And then lastly, the other piece of homework you have this week are potential proposal topics. You'll just have to brainstorm. And what I'll have you do here, you'll sort of jot down some ideas you have. You definitely want to try to think of topics that are smaller in scale regarding community. So here you'll see really big topics: homelessness in New York City, world hunger, legalizing marijuana. These are topics that are definitely important, but they cannot be tackled in a 15-page paper. So I've given you more reasonable topics to think about, ones that are more narrowed in scope and more focused on a specific community or population, maybe one that you're a part of. And you don't obviously have to go with these. These are just examples of proposal topics that would work. Food insecurity at Rutgers University, New Brunswick, the lack of civic engagement at Princeton High School, the Lawrence Township firefighters are at a higher risk for heart disease. These all hint at problems, and they deal with specific, more narrowed in scope communities. So you could quite literally jot down a few bullet points here. If you're torn between a few, I would try to at least have 2, and this way I can reply back to you and give you some feedback. So hopefully that's helpful. But just remember the most important things: announcements. Our homepage brings you to our syllabus and the course overview, and modules. All right.